Everyone, wherever you may be, from Accra to Addis Ababa, from Lagos to Lilongwe, Lusaka, from Cape Town to Cairo, and everywhere in between. Actually, I see that we have a lot of people across the world, actually, America, Dubai, and places like that. I think from our perspective, what we like to do is just introduce and start the webinar, and thank you very much for joining us and taking your time that you can spend with us on this very important topic. It's citizenship by investment, and also the fact that we have a really pressing topic now. Portugal by investment is ending off. I'm going to just share let's start the program.
Come on, Adrian, pull yourself together, my friend.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a lag here, so it's catching me. Welcome to everyone again. Thank you for that. And my colleagues Chris and I. I'm going to start off by letting them introduce themselves. So Chris said we let Desiree do it before, but it's going to be you now. Chris, over to you.
Well, good afternoon, I think, for the majority, but also good morning and good evening, actually, for a few of you out there. Yeah, thank you for joining us again. I think this is now our third or fourth webinar recently over citizenship and residency programs. It's getting a little bit boring now, eh? But no, it's joking aside, I think, although it's only a very small part of what we do as a company and as three, private wealth managers, it's a topic that's, very prevalent right now and certainly at the forefront of, a lot of our clients thinking. So yeah, although we're speaking about this again, it's something that, people do keep asking us about. So yeah, here we are again. But yeah, as you can see, senior partner here at Holborn, been in the industry in Africa now for over 8 years, helping clients primarily throughout the African continent, but that's grown now globally with, anything to do with financial planning. But again, with a big emphasis right now on citizenship and residency. Originally from the UK, I think you figured that out now with my horrible accent. But yeah, hopefully we can add some value and be beneficial to you today. And thank you again for joining. Over to you, Desiree.
Hi everyone, I'll try and keep it short and sweet. I am a Zimbabwean by birth who has worked across Africa, very much like Chris, over the last 7 or 8 years, helping individuals with, again, all aspects of their financial estate legacy planning. And we are very, very happy to have you here today. Over to you, Adrian.
Thanks, Des. Yours is always short and sweet. From my perspective, I've also been in the industry for nearly 20 years now, helping individuals with anything across their planning that they need, whether it be growing wealth, saving for children's education, protecting themselves from any unforeseen life events. And really the hot topic that we're talking about today is global mobility across all spheres. There are people that are looking to be traveling, getting plan Bs for themselves, their children, and those type of things. So I'm going to kick off quickly. It's just to give you a background about Holborn and who we are. We're the second largest financial wealth business in the world. We are a family-owned business. We were founded in 1998 by our CEO Bob Parker, and he's still in the business. We're the second largest globally, as I said, and That's about $2.5 billion under advice. That's a really, it's not Zimbabwean dollars, as we always talk about, because we are in Africa. It's US dollars. We've got about 15,000 clients, and we have operations in about 13 countries. So we operate across the globe, from Australia to America, through most of Europe and down through Africa and South Africa. Myself, Chris and Desiree are based in Mauritius office. From a services perspective, I'm not going to do all of these, just give you a brief overview. We essentially can help a client with anything that they want. So again, as I said, from a pension saving to saving for children's education, some investments, we do offshore companies, we do property as an investment, and then today, the final one there that you can see is citizenship by investment. But really, reach out to any of us, Chris or Desiree, at any stage we can help you. No, not necessarily be that it would be a citizenship, it can be anything that you need. So why do people work with us? The size is a really big one, as you can see, we're the second largest. And from that perspective, we get to deal with only the best providers in the market, and we get to negotiate with them and talk to them about offering their products to our clients. We're totally independent. So the independence is something we're proud of. What that means is that we can offer a solution to you, the client, from the best provider. We're not tied to any insurer or anything like that. So what happens is you as the client will get only the best product that's available that's out there. Service. This is something we're very, very proud of. And as you can see, we're consistently winning awards in the International Advisors, International Awards. And our Trustpilot, to welcome you to go to our Trustpilot, go to the Trustpilot website and view us and view the reviews. We're very proud of the fact that we got a 5-star service, 5-star award. Safety and security, again, we only operate in jurisdictions, and we're regulated in about 13 jurisdictions. So we only offer products and services and deal in jurisdictions that have a regulated process. And finally is education. Myself, Chris and Desiree, while we might not like it too much, although we do because it's our job, we're continually improving our knowledge, and we are required to do professional development on an annual basis to keep us up to speed with all the products that are being offered. Okay, that's a quick background on Holborn. I think from a residency and citizenship by investment perspective, Chris, I'll kick this one off, and then I'm going to give you the overview slide. What I'll do is I'll just talk about it as an industry. That's a 2018 slide that says there's 21 billion in the market. It's actually much larger than that. We're now 5-6 years later. But essentially, in a nutshell, it's very straightforward. The client gets to be given a residency by investment or a citizenship by investment, and it's a very straight process. In exchange for money, in most instances, either purchasing a property, in some instances it's a donation, other areas you can open a business and put a deposit in the bank or buy government bonds. So those are really the basics around how the citizenship and residency investment works. And we cover the globe. So I'm going to jump to that slide. And Chris, I'm going to throw it to you because these are kind of things that people always ask. What do we do and what do we offer and why?
Thank you. But that's a horrible slide. Even I can't see that with
Yeah, sorry, it's very small.
No, but yeah, no, I think, as a sort of overview, high level type, reason as to, why people do this, really, clients tend to fit within one of two categories. Firstly, there will be, those individuals that, want nothing other than ease of travel. I have a lot of clients in Nigeria and through Africa, West Africa, they travel the globe, through business. Business now is becoming a lot more global, sick and tired of having to, apply for visas, can't just jump on an airplane to, go and close business tomorrow. They have to go through that whole application process. And those individuals just want ease of travel, don't necessarily, ever want to leave where they are. They don't want to relocate to, another country. Simply, they want ease of travel. And typically, those countries that, or good, for that would be somewhere in the Caribbean, somewhere like a St. Lucia or a St. Kitts and Nevis or Grenada, that very simply, we can buy a passport really from the government there without having to go there, without having to spend time there, but then end up with a passport that will allow you, visa-free travel into, Europe, the UK, Asia, US, and that's all that they need, Then we have clients that, sort of fit within, the other category, and that's really looking at the long-term plan B, and I think, although these programs have been around for many, many years, and I touched on this, at the beginning, I think, it's become a lot more prevalent, I think, in the last 2 to 3 years. And I think that really, as a knock-on effect from COVID, people really want that ability to, be able to uproot if the need arises and, go and live in another country. But also from that plan B, it's really through, looking, as a real legacy for, families and children, being able to open the world door, if you like, to children in terms of, being able to access education systems in, other countries, healthcare in other countries, social benefits. So yeah, that's really, where you're looking for that long-term sort of plan B. And, you've got to have an idea, I think, on, where you would ultimately maybe want to reside or where you would want your children to, be educated. But, the most popular, for my clients, and I think, I'll touch on the nationalities in a second of people that are doing this, really, you're probably looking at Europe as being the most popular, because ultimately a European passport allows you to, not just access one country, you can go and live anywhere in Europe. And then probably the US, I think, is also, a very popular one. Although a lot of Americans are actually trying to give their passports away right now, a lot of people still do want to, go and live in the US. But yeah, it's really trying to find out with clients ultimately what that goal is. Is it just the ease of travel, or is it, the real legacy, plan B that you're looking for? So yeah, there's lots and lots of programs that, as you can see, some come, some go, there's lots of programs, but I think, in the plan B category, Europe, I think probably Portugal would be, the most popular. It's been a very, very good scheme, unfortunately coming to an end, which I'm sure we'll touch on. And then Greece maybe after Portugal, and then yeah, the US I think has also been very popular. But yeah, I think that's the main reasons people do it, and the sort of areas that people look at.
Great, thanks, Chris. I think yeah, it's a good summary, and we're actually going to do a deep dive into quite a few of them. So I'm going to let Des kick off. It was what Chris touched on about the travel scenario. So Des, for you, I think you're going to do Citizenship for us.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you. So it's probably one of the quickest routes to a passport. It takes 4 months, and it's actually in the lowest sort of price point. So we'd be looking at about 100,000 as a donation for a single applicant. But then you've also got the fact that St. Lucia is part was part of the Commonwealth. So you get visa-free travel to 140 countries, including the UK, for an extended period of time with UK. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You pass it along. That is your legacy. So, you know, while, I don't know, not everyone likes to sit on the beach, but if you were really needed to leave where you are, why not, right? There are other routes to the St. Lucia passport with the real estate. There are the government bonds, and then opening your own company investing in a government approved company. And that's really the sum total of St. Lucia.
Yeah, it's a very, very popular program, as you say, Desiree, from people who just want to travel and not necessarily want to relocate, like Chris was saying. I think, Chris, then the next that steps up, as you said, from a residency thing is we probably swing right across to Europe. And the most favorite on the European side is Portugal, which you kept talking about. So I'm going to throw you under the bus at this one. Give us some background, and I think we'll help you out as well, because it's been a very popular program in the last year and a half, and it's cutting off. But why don't you kick off?
Yeah, I struggle with this one now. It's, I think even in our last webinar, I was talking in the past tense with regards to Portugal, but it sort of feels like this, really is, the wake that we're at right now. It feels like it's perhaps even already dead. Yeah, it's a tough one, this, because, out of the many programs globally, I think this has been by far, the most successful, probably the most popular. It's been an incredible, program for the government in Portugal. It's achieved everything that it set out to do. It really was, one of a kind. I don't think, we're ever really going to see the like of this one ever again. There's similar ones, but, from a cost point of view and an ease of, being able to get the passport, yeah, I don't think we'll ever see the like again. I think, there's a lot that now are disappearing, Ireland. I know the European Union have got an issue right now with the Maltese one. Yeah, Europe didn't like it. The fact that Portugal did this really without asking them, I think was the problem. But yeah, very simply, the Portuguese program, it changed many times over its lifespan. But, in very simple terms, you could buy a property in Portugal today, it's an entry level of 280,000 euros that would ultimately qualify you for a golden visa. And then in 5 years' time, that golden visa could be converted to an EU passport without having to actually go and live there. All that you have to do actually, which is incredible really, is spend a total of 35 days there over that 5-year period, and you're qualified for citizenship. So, from a cost point of view and an ease, you could get a passport to the European Union without having to really make any changes to your current life. Greece, UK, Canada, and all these places, you have to physically uproot your family and go and live there permanently to get that passport. You don't have to do that with Portugal. And ultimately, when you've got that passport to Portugal, yeah, I mean, you can go and live anywhere in the EU, you know, you can go live in France, Germany, Spain, Italy, you know, access education throughout, you know, the Shenzhen area, healthcare. So yeah, you know, it's an incredible program. The problem right now is that the government there have said that it's going to close. And they've said that initially on the 15th of February. We're expecting a further announcement in 6 days' time. And in 6 days, the final nail in the coffin could be, you know, could be put in, you know, or, you know, there's a bit of an extension for a month or 2 months or 3 months. We're hoping that, you know, people can, you know, really sort of force the way through that, you know, tiny gap in the door. But yeah, it's a sad day. Yeah, you know, we've got so many people right now making a mad dash for this because, you know, you'll never be able to get a European passport as easily as this one because, you know, the 280,000 euros, and I'm sure we'll come back to this, you know, is to buy a property. Yes, there will be legal fees over and above that. You know, for a family of four, maybe that would take it to 330,000 euros. But actually, when you get your passport, you know, we can actually get a guaranteed buyback for the property. So you're actually getting, you know, European passports, you know, potentially for a family of four for, you know, 50,000 euros. And yeah, I don't think you can ever really put a value on that passport. You know, when you tally up the, you know, the things that it can give you, yeah, it's an incredible return on investment. But yeah, it feels like I shouldn't really be talking about this one right now, you know.
No, but I think, yeah.
It is, you know, it's still there right now. We don't know for how long. But yeah, that's, you know, I think being, you know, if we're looking at Europe, certainly the most popular. You know, I think once this one does finish, then yeah, there's options, you know, places like Greece and Spain, you know, but they have a higher price point and you have to go and spend, you know, time there. But yeah, some great programs about, but this, I think, if I'm looking at Europe, would be, you know, head and shoulders above anything else.
So, great. Thanks, Chris. I mean, I think from our perspective, we'll swing across and you know, we'll come back to Europe, but we're going to swing across the Atlantic to the other side. I'm going to let Des talk about that, but we're definitely going to swing back to Europe because there's lots of other options when the Portuguese program does end. And we're actually going to touch on the Spanish program in this presentation. So Des, similar structure, I think, but I'm going to let you unpack it. Someone looking for residency that leads to citizenship, or essentially the same type of thing is the American program. So over to you.
Thanks, Adrian. Okay, cool. This is quite an incredible opportunity, actually, because, you know, from a standpoint of being able to live and work in the US, having access, you know, to that economy. I mean, who doesn't function or who hasn't functioned with the US dollar? It's available to your spouse or legal partner, as well as unmarried children under the age of 21. I think it's really important to say that although it does start with the residency, it does progress after that sort of 5-year period to being full citizenship, to having an unconditional green card. I don't know if we should sort of speak process But again, it's a fairly simple process. You receive your monies back again at the end of that 5-6 year period. Sometimes even with a small amount of interest, which I think is great. But yeah, so if one was looking at a regional centre investment, which is, I think, a little bit more sort of user-friendly in terms of being a collective sort of investment. You're not going out there and being told to fend for yourself and make sure that you create those 10 jobs, etc., that would be needed for a direct investment. With a regional centre investment, you know, the required amount is $800,000. And now those are generally in your sort of targeted employment areas where they're looking to push up infrastructure or jobs, etc. A lot of the time, these are pre-approved, and they sometimes actually have all of the jobs already filled. So that's great. Yeah. In terms of direct investments, that is $1,050,000, but yeah, that is slightly more complicated. There is an only really sort of 40% chance of approval at that sort of United States citizenship and immigration level. And you do have to do the hard work. You've got to invest that amount. You've got to make sure that you are creating a stable and successful business enterprise, which is going to create those 10 jobs or more. I think I've covered it.
You have. I think just to touch as well that I know is available from our perspective is at that 850. We also have a financing option. So the actual amount of cash, it is a very expensive program, relatively very expensive program, we have to say.
It is. I think that the one that you're mentioning, Adrian, is the project that we've got available, which is Piers Village, phase 5. Yep. Incredible. It's already been a successful project in the past with earlier phases. There are millions of visitors to this destination every year. And ultimately, what needs to happen is they need to build more hotel rooms. So that's what that investment is. So you can get financing of up to $300,000 on that one, and is 7% return at the end of the investment period as well.
Right. Okay. And then another one was just to clarify from a taking up the residency and the minimum stay days, vastly different to Portugal. So just clarify that from the American side. That's a question that's just come through on the webinar.
Understood. It's hugely different. You've pretty much got to live there and stay there and work there.
So you do have to uproot the family up.
You do indeed, but it has its benefits as well.
Correct.
Because once
I think you can go anywhere. That's also correct. What we've got, you can go anywhere in the States. You're not stuck with a state.
Within reason, yeah, you can go anywhere within the States. However, in the beginning, there is that need to sort of have your status lifted to the next level so that you can travel freely outside of the States. And then within that sort of, let's call it 6 to 12 month period, I mean, that's when you get approval from the United States Citizenship and Immigration. Then you are awarded your conditional green card, which is valid for 2 years. But within our service with the immigration lawyer, we make sure that 90 days before the expiration, we are, applying for a renewal and the lifting of the condition. So then you are awarded your unconditional green card And then at the end of the 5 years, well, hey, you can apply for a citizenship or a passport.
Great. Great. Look, we're getting hit up with lots of questions, but I think we may get bogged down. What I'll do is, if we have some time at the end, I'll answer general questions on each of the, we can answer general questions on each ones that come through. I see some Portugal questions are coming through as well. Okay, great. I think then we're going to be moving across to other options and back to the Europe side. I think this is Spain and Chris, I think you took Portugal, so should I take Spain?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're not getting your head there. Yeah, I think from a Spanish perspective, it's actually a newly released program, and it works the same as the Portugal thing. It's a golden visa. There is a little bit of a clarification from a minimum stay day perspective. The Spanish have a very low minimum stay day for this particular visa that they're issuing, but the number is quite high. So it's a 500,000 euro investment that's required, and there is no requirement to actually live in Spain. So there's no minimum visitation and things like that. So it's quite a popular, well, we're thinking it's going to be quite a popular program. And one of the things that the Portugal golden visa could pivot to, but again, being very careful and cognizant of the fact that it raises the price point and the bar quite heavily. It's really, the benefits for the Spanish perspective is, like all the European Union countries, you obviously have your membership to the EU, you have no travel problems within the Schengen area. It's actually a great cost of life. We will have a lot of UK clients, and I'll probably see Chris shaking his head. We'll probably have a lot of UK clients taking this up because the UK were silly enough to Brexit. So they are scrambling for options to be able to go and live permanently in their holiday houses. And as we know, the Costa del Bravo, said that wrong, Costa del Bravo, or wherever, Mallorca, full of yeah. Lots of them have actually bought and in previous years have bought houses to retire to in 15, 20 years time, and now they're stuck. They're going to need to be taking this up. The other strong one across the globe, there's a lot of people on this call from across the globe, is that the Spanish colonies, or the ex-Spanish colonies, there's a list at the bottom there, and you can reach out to us. You can actually qualify for the citizenship and the full passport in a very shortened time of only 2 years. So this does lead to citizenship, but it's a long process for non-colony clients. If you're just if you have no link to Spain, it's about 10 years that you're going to need to wait to be able to get the citizenship. So it's a nice program. It's newly available, and if it piques your fancy, please reach out to us and chat. Right. I think we are racing along, and the time is going fast. We've still got quite a few to talk about, and then I've got to open it up to all of those questions that are flying in. The next one's the UAE, and Chris, I know I took Spain, but I think I might have to take the UAE as well, because it's a very, very new program.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the UAE, again, in particular, and I didn't touch on this actually before, in terms of my Indian clients, actually, in particular, Dubai, is an incredible program. Again, I think, the issue, not the issue, and again, it's going to come down to, people's, real underlying goal for wanting to do something like this. You've got to, really have a desire to, want to either go and live in Dubai or retire there, because ultimately, it's never going to give you anything, over and above residency of Dubai. It's never going to ultimately end up with a passport. It doesn't give you the ability to go and live in, other countries. You're basically, buying the right to, go and live in Dubai. So it serves a purpose for, very specific, clients. It's very much, like the St. Lucia, unless you actually want to go and live in St. Lucia, you have to ask yourself, what the added benefits are.
Yeah.
And, it does form an integral part now, these programs in overall financial planning, in, tax planning, people are looking at these for, the ability to be able to, ultimately move to more favorable tax regimes, so again, every, program has its benefits, but yeah, very new program, and will serve certain individuals very, very well.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, and we're our head office is Dubai. So Bob saw the light 20 years ago, and he's based there, and the business is based there. And again, as you said, Chris, I've also got a lot of Indian clients now. A lot of people live in Dubai, and it used to be an onerous process to renew work and residence permits. And this new release really helps them from I think from an administration perspective more. It's now a 10-year visa, and it does include the extended family. So those are the pertinent points from our perspective that make it a very attractive program for people who are based in Dubai. It is via an investment in Dubai itself. One of the programs is something like this, the Dubai towers on the canals. And really, it's something like exactly like this. The minimum investment requirement is 2 million. Sorry, let me just get back to that. Is 2 million, and you own the property. So we've had that question over the last few weeks quite a bit. Yes, you purchase the property. Once it's completed, you can go and live in there. And we have a selection of properties available. We can go from 1 to 3 bedrooms, penthouses, anything like that, that the client may need in Dubai, if you're living in Dubai, and it's a 10-year visa. So that's it in a nutshell. It's very easy to talk to us and get it. It is fairly new, but please reach out again, as I've said, Chris, Desiree, myself, please reach out if you need any more information. We're able to do it. I think what we're doing is we're coming towards the end and trying to just see if we got any of the questions streaming through. I think, Des, I'm just going to ask you from an overall servicing perspective. There are 2 slides here. Just give a basic overview about what we do from a Holborn perspective out of the passports division, and personally, you can just let people know we hold their hand.
We do. I would literally say it literally is A to Z on here, I think. But we will help with permit applications, renewals, helping you to find the correct sort of real estate investment or bond investment, etc., for you and your family. We really do go through a lot of due diligence with everything. We'll help with opening of bank accounts, with social security numbers or tax numbers, depending on where we're looking at, collection and delivery of cards, Portugal residence cards, green cards, etc. Annual tax returns. So it really, really is a complete hold your hands, we're on this journey with you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Des. I think we've talked about most of the non-EU options. Des, do you want to just touch on solution? Those are the 3 points that's right at the beginning. It actually is a question that's just come through. Can you explain the UK connection again, please? From one of the people here. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So because of the fact that the actual island itself, St. Lucia, was a part of the Commonwealth many, many years ago, it still has ties. So what that means is that where on other passports, you would only have a sort of 90-day window in which you can visit in the UK, and again, have to wait another 90 or 180 to go back, depending on which passport you're on. You get to travel to the UK for 180 days, so essentially 6 months. And we like to joke about it. I think Adrian and Chris are going to probably act serious right now, but essentially you could go for a trip for a couple of days and go right back to UK with the St. Lucia passport. Yeah, no need to visit at all, ever. You do your fingerprints, etc., online. It's all done digitally, and it's you get your passport within 6 months.
Excellent. Thanks, Des. Chris, it's going to loop back to you now on a Portuguese golden visa. Do we have any specific projects? And then the next thing was the question with regards to the parents and parents-in-law that's come through on the family application.
Yeah, I mean, Portugal right now, yeah, we've got a number of developments. I'll be honest, you know, the availability in them right now, you know, is very, very minimal. Some do come back on and they go very, very quickly. As I said, there's a bit of a mad scramble for Portugal right now. And obviously we're reluctant to take on new developments until, you know, we get an update from the government there. But primarily, you know, the entry level criteria for the golden visa, I said, was 280,000 euros. The stipulation from the government there for that qualifying amount is that it has to be a commercial property, but also a regeneration commercial property, something that's over 30 years old. So what we have right now is hotel developments that are pre-existing hotel units that, you know, are being regenerated, so it qualifies and ticks the boxes, you know, for both criteria. And yeah, ultimately you're buying, you know, either a share of a hotel or a unit within a hotel, dependent on, you know, the development. So yeah, I think we've got 2 or 3 with still, you know, still availability, although very limited. You know, if Portugal was a route that you wanted to go down, yeah, I mean, I would say you would have to do it right now. And I mean, now.
After this meeting.
And even then, you know, there's no guarantee that, you know, you would get the golden visa. You know, the way we're positioning this right now is that, you know, whilst it's still an option, you've got to try. You have to go for it, you know, because as I said, you know, we're never going to see the like of this, you know, ever again. You know, rewinding a little bit more, you know, we made a commitment back in February when, you know, the government there, you know, said that this was finishing, that, you know, if we did start the process and, you know, clients paid legal fees and, you know, deposits, and then we got to a point that, you know, we weren't going to make the cut off, and, you know, we would refund then any fees that a client had paid, or, you know, put those fees towards, you know, an alternate project or program, you know, something like Greece or Spain. But yeah, just to touch on a little bit, you know, about what Desiree was saying, you know, we process thousands of applications every year, you know, for various different programs, you know, but it's a very, very top to bottom service. You know, we have people on the ground, offices in places like Portugal, Spain, you know, so we're very experienced at what we do. You know, we've been doing this a long time now, so, you know, we know the intricacies and how these things work. But yeah, Portugal, it's gone, really, nearly, unfortunately. So yeah, if you are genuinely serious about Portugal, then yeah, you'd have to reach out immediately.
Good. Then I won't bog down with other questions on Portugal because they've asked about the buyback option, but let's just see, we can go to loop back to that if we run out of
Let's see if we can
time.
buy it first before we worry about the buyback.
Yeah, correct. I've just gone back one slide to just say the various other options from a residency. I think there's Greece there. I don't have any actual details on the Greece side, but from my perspective or our perspective, it works very similarly to the Spanish program, although it does have minimum stay day requirements, but it's more or less the same as.
Sorry, it's actually a very good program. You know, and it gives you access to the whole of Europe. But
Correct.
the entry level sort of $500,000. You have to go and live there for 2.5 of the 5 years. So you do have to make some quite life-changing, decisions.
Yep, perfect. Then I'm just wanting to see if there's another question here. Yes, there's this question again on St. Lucia. Sorry, Des, that's to you. Cost for a family of 4, more or less.
More or less,
I think you only touched on one.
130,000.
Okay.
A family of 400, let's call it 134,000.
Okay,
for
great.
A family of 4.
And the follow-on question to that is, in which category is that? Is that the donation category?
That's the donation category. Yeah.
Okay.
That is the donation category.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect. Let me just check the chat box, see if there's anything else for us. Otherwise, we are coming towards the end, and I can open it up to you guys to give more stuff if you think we've forgotten stuff while I'm having a quick look at the chat.
Boring people now, to be honest.
Yes, we probably are. So we've raced through the stuff. Well,
if I could just say one final thing, I think, it's quite a minefield, this, and it's, they are big life-changing decisions sometimes, and I think, ultimately the best thing to do is just sit down with, one of us, and we can really try and, delve and dig and, really try and figure out what that goal is. That's the key, and once we know what those objectives are and what we're trying to achieve from this, then we can really, give you, the best advice as to, the best route for you as an individual. Everybody's different, so yeah, I've got, many clients that think Portugal's the best route for them because friends have done Portugal. But in actual fact, Portugal's not necessarily the best route for them. People think all of the Caribbean passports are the same, and I had someone ask me for a St. Kitts and Nevis passport, when actually they needed, St. Lucia, because there was one country on there that they needed to go to that, St. Kitts didn't allow, so, it's really, it is very specific to you as an individual, and, not one program is right for everybody. So I think, reach out if there's an element of interest in, discussing further, and we'll figure out the best route forward for you.
Great, Chris. I was going to ask Des to give a 2-minute or 1-minute farewell, but I think on all of our behalves, unless you'd like to, Des, I think on all of our behalves, Chris has summarized it very well. I'm going to finish off as the MC to say sorry for the start. It was a bit of a confusing start on my side, but hopefully the end is ending off well. Wherever you are, thank you so much for the time that you've taken to spend with us. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one next time. And until next time.
Another one about citizenship, surely. No.
Au revoir.
No.
Bonjour. Tot ziens. Goodbye.
See
you later.
Thank you.
Cheers.